up, everybody? It's DFS Dudes back for another edition of Deep Dive. Today is Friday, January the 17th. Got some exciting news for you guys. Look, PGA, in case you don't know, PGA is in the optimizer. Derek Hill does a great job breaking down each tournament every week. We're about to launch NASCAR in the optimizer. And if you were with us throughout last year, you know that Tyler Miller does an unbelievable job with our NASCAR content. NASCAR is only about 4 weeks away, a little less than 4 weeks away. NASCAR is a very fun sport to play. And then we're going to be launching some new NHL stuff. So, dabble in these other sports. We've got great writers who are bringing great content and great perspective to those sports. I know that we all love NFL and NBA and MLB, but this is about making money. We're trying to make money. We're trying to be profitable. And you look at this as like your DFS account. Look at it like an investment portfolio, right? We're not just putting money in there to have fun and see what happens. We're putting money in there to see if we can make a profit out of that. That's the goal. And adding to your portfolio with different stocks like NASCAR, like PGA. The optimizer was spot on. I've got 25 lineups, I think, in the $9 tournament. Just didn't have any opportunity to do any research. Just jumped in, grabbed Derek's article, hopped in the optimizer, kind of put it together, and I believe that I'm in 7th place in the $9 at the moment. We'll see if it holds. But the goal with PGA is to make sure that all of your guys in your lineup make your cut. That's what you're after. But add these sports, and we just hung up a conference call with all of our writers, and I'm telling you right now, the NHL guy that we're bringing on is no joke. This guy lives it, breathes it, sleeps it. He's also going to be putting out a season-long MLB draft kit on the site for you guys as well to take advantage of that. So a lot of exciting stuff. Make sure you pay attention and make sure you're getting all the information possible because there's some heavy hitters. And this guy, I anticipate, will be one of them. Real deal. So let's get into today's slate. Last night was insane. Last night was nuts. I was at one point thinking we were going to see a 500 score for the first time in the history of DFS. I thought there is no way we're going to get to a 500 score to take down a tournament. There's just no way. FanDuel and DraftKings both thought that higher scores would bring more people in, and I think at the end of the day, higher scores is going to hurt people. They're going to have to do something. I don't anticipate next NBA season you're going to see this because cash lines are out of control. Pay lines for both contests are out of control. I think last night you needed 381 or 379.4 it might have been on FanDuel to cash in a tournament. 379.4. I remember when I got into this that 5X is, you were golden with 5X, 300 points. 280, 289, 290, 296, like that. That's what you needed in a cash game. You need way more than that now. So it's competitive, and our job every single day, and our goal is to give you the best possible information to build your lineups with. So let's get into tonight. Moving on from last night. Hope you guys played some of the plays we had last night because we had some stuff that was spot on. Spot on. Not a big slate for a Friday night, and that's a little different. I think Doncic right off the bat is probably going to be default chalk. I think he's the pay-up spot. And I think people will look to fill their lineups with Philadelphia players. We were on Matisse Thybulle the last game. His price is up $600. He's $4,100 now. But he's still a really good play, especially if he's going to start. Kid's good. We opened the night with Minnesota at Indiana, and the Karl Anthony Towns thing is just not going to go away. We'll see. It's at lock. We will know, hopefully, prior to lock if he's in or out. Gorgie Zhang actually put up a decent spot. And Gorgie Zhang, the center spot in this game is something that you're going to want to get exposure to because the Pacers are not good against centers. Miles Turner is a terrible defender. It's funny because Miles Turner can produce some value on certain slates and certain matchups, but Sabonis gets a bump if Miles Turner is playing on the floor, and then any center that's going against Miles Turner gets a bump as well. So Zhang played 29 minutes against the Pacers, and he had 33.7 fantasy points. Returned you 6x plus. He's 5,100. And if the minutes are going to be there, he can dominate a matchup again against Miles Turner. So, Sabonis is the guy I would look at without Karl Anthony Towns. I think he's definitely in play. I think people are going to look at Shabazz Napier. He's going to get a huge bump today. Remember, yesterday we saw George Teague traded. So, that really frees up the shared guard role from a minute standpoint. I think you'll still share the point guard position with Andrew Wiggins. I think Wiggins and Napier will play kind of combo guard together. But Napier at 5,000, I think that Doncic and Napier are going to be really chalky and probably default free squares in cash games today. I think everybody's going to have those guys in their cash games. But there's some other places to get exposure to. We've talked about Covington. Covington's played really well in the absence of Karl Anthony Towns, the power forward position. He just doesn't have a great matchup here against Sabonis. But definitely Brogdon on the flip side of this, with all the attention that will go to Napier, Brogdon will still be a good play at 6,800. And that's kind of where I'm at with this game. Sabonis gets a bump if Towns doesn't play. If Towns is going to play, Towns is in a really good spot because Turner's so bad against centers. But it'll really be about, is there a minutes limit? What is the minutes limit? At 10-5, you need, 63 fantasy points in tournaments. It's a lot of fantasy points for a guy who's going to be on possibly a minutes limit. So he would be a no-go. And I do think that if he does play and he is on a minutes limit, I think you're safe with Gorgui Dieng pretty much either way. I think Dieng can get you 5 to 6 times value coming off the bench playing 25 minutes in this matchup. Chicago is at Philadelphia, and I think that the Philadelphia is going to be really chalky again. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Richardson, and Thibault will all be popular plays today. Rightfully so, they're all in a good spot. Levine on the other side of this, I think, is in a really good spot as well. You could possibly look at Thaddeus Young. And Luke Cornett, if he's going to start, I think is a good value play at 4.2. Cornett getting some run now. He's played at least 22 minutes in his last 3 games. He played 35 minutes a couple of days ago against Washington. He's had 35.7 against Detroit and 26.8 against Washington. It's not the same type of matchup, but he does open up some value at the power forward 2 spot. He's one of the guys that you could put in tournaments that's in play as a power forward 2. Washington at Toronto, the over-under in this one, 230.5. Toronto's minus 10. Bradley Beal's the guy to continue to watch. It's like a CJ McCollum price for a better version of CJ McCollum. And I think his floor is like 4.5x is what I think his floor is on this price tag. He has not played more than 30 minutes yet. Okay, he played 30, 27, and 27. So, that's kind of, if they're not going to give us any news about his minutes, then, you're kind of in a spot where he's a good tournament play that you have to take a shot with, hoping that when he does finally play 36 minutes that you have him and there is no news about the minutes. And that'll be the game that, that'll be the price increase game where he'll get 50 fantasy points and the price will go back up to 8,500, 9,000. But he's a stock that you can buy extremely cheap right now with a lot of upside in that. So you got to continue to watch him. There was no news around him until midday a couple of days ago, and then he became questionable. And we didn't get news until the slate locked that he was in fact going to play. I still think that, you have to watch the minutes limit on Bertans. When that increases, his price is really fair at 4,800 for what he can do in a full complement of minutes. Ish Smith and those guys, I think, still in a good spot, but we need the price to go down just a touch. They've kind of reset a little bit. They're back below 5,000. I'm talking about Ish Smith and Troy Brown. Gary Payton, if he's going to start at 3,800, I don't mind him in this spot as a tournament play, an upside tournament play shooting guard too. But that's really it. It's Bradley Beal's the guy I'm really going to look at. We don't know what's going to happen with Thomas Bryant. They're going to continue to increase his minutes coming off a stress fracture. Bertans, his minutes, as long as he stays healthy, they should continue to increase. So it's kind of a wait and see and take a chance with some of these guys. On the flip side of it, Siakam's in an unbelievable spot tonight. 7,600 on FanDuel. It's a really good spot for him. Van Vliet is a game time decision. If Van Vliet is ruled out prior to lock, I will have a lot of Pascal Siakam. I think he's in a really good – this is a crush spot for him, in my opinion. Cleveland at Memphis, and I think this is a game you should pay attention to. Memphis, whoever's played Memphis outside of Houston without Russell Westbrook, the game itself, follow me on this point, the game itself wasn't in the eye of anyone. The play of Harden and Capella without Russell Westbrook is what people were streamlining. You take a look back to DeMar DeRozan playing against Memphis. There's a whole host of people who have played against Memphis who have gone bonkers. And I think that there's a couple of spots you could possibly look at. Valanciunas, I think, is going to be a popular play today at his price tag of $6,500. Morant is a little too expensive for cash consideration, but he's definitely in play in tournaments. I'll continue to roll out Colin Sexton at that price tag. And I would look at Kevin Love. I mean, I think there's guys in this spot that you can definitely get exposure to in tournaments. And, Cleveland is the underdog here. Memphis is minus 8.5. Cleveland, they have a tendency to score a lot of points. They just don't play any defense. And, I think that there's some really good fantasy value here, especially like Dylan Brooks at 5,700. I think that there's guys you can consider in this game. But Valanciunas is the guy I think is going to be very popular today. Miami is at Oklahoma City. And it's just really difficult for me to get interested in these grind down games with Oklahoma City. 216 is the over-under. Justice Winslow is out. Tyler Hero is a game-time decision. Steven Adams is a game-time decision. I think that a very, very good value play today would be Mike Muscala if Adams and Nerlens Noel are going to be out. Diallo, I don't think that he gets enough run at a minimum value, or Baisley. These guys don't get enough run at their price tag to really be in consideration. But, if you really look, the value in Oklahoma City is the minutes, because they're really playing with 6 guys that have any fantasy consideration. And probably it's only 4, maybe 5. And that would be Galigius Alexander, Chris Paul, Gallinari, Adams, Schroeder, and Noel. And Adams and Noel may be out. So there'll be a lot of usage to be picked up there. And I think that Muscala would be an intriguing value play. I'd recommend him over Cornette, obviously, at power forward 2. I think he'd be very chalky at power forward 2 if both of those guys are, in fact, ruled out. And the other side of it, it's not exciting because the guys are priced so fair. Bam is priced fair for his price tag. He's priced fair for what he can produce, 45 fantasy points. He's right at the 5-6x. Dragic, Derek Jones, these guys are all priced pretty fair. So really you'd be looking to get maybe a Duncan Robinson, possibly a Jimmy Butler, but his price tag of $9,000, you need 54 fantasy points tonight out of him, and I just don't know if that's there in this game. Atlanta's at San Antonio, and I would pay attention to this one as well, just like Cleveland and Memphis. San Antonio is not San Antonio of the past. I think a ton of points are going to be scored here. I like the price of Red Velvet at $5,500. I like the price of Collins at 8,000. I like the price of Trae Young here as a pivot off Doncic. DeAndre Hunter is starting to ball, so is Cam Reddish. They're just up and down. They're not consistent. They're definitely tournament plays. DeRozan's very inconsistent. Aldridge is very inconsistent. Dejounte Murray, we don't know what his minutes are going to be. Lyles is very inconsistent. Patty Mills, Derek White, Jakob Poeltl, all very inconsistent. This is probably the hardest team to peg on who's going to have the most amount of usage and who's going to get minutes. Dejounte Murray is really the class example of that. About 2 weeks ago, they said they had removed the minutes limit from him, but he's yet to play more than 30 minutes since then. That's it. I mean, he's playing 28 minutes. So, at 4,900, he's definitely a tournament play you could look at. He could probably get you 7x tonight in this matchup if everything goes right and he gets 29 minutes. But, they're all tournament plays. Herter's going to become more popular and more popular with his success until his price tag reaches 6,500. And then people will fall off. But at 5,500, he's definitely in play. The last game of the night is Portland at Dallas. And if, the news that I've seen is Porzingis is not playing. So this is throwing me for a loop. A complete loop. Because they went through the entire, we're not getting any news that's giving me a reason why he's out. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because they went through he practiced on Monday. They had a back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday. And I said Tuesday that it would make more sense for him to play in the second half of the back-to-back. That's where the news came down. He was going to play in the second half of the back-to-back. Then they say he's playing and starting against Sacramento in the second half of the back-to-back. And then 10 minutes before tip-off, they rule him out, and they ruled him out for precautionary reasons. Looked like he was going to play today, and he's now just been ruled out. So he must have, there's got to be swelling and stuff in that knee it's not responding the way that they are comfortable with putting him on the floor. So with him out, you have to like Hassan Whiteside. It's just a steep price tag. It's a steep price tag at 46. At 9,400 on FanDuel. Lillard's playing really well right now. He's very fair price. He's a very fair price tag for Lillard, 8,800. You like to get Lillard below 9,000. He can put up 48 to 55 fantasy points tonight in this spot. And, Doncic, you need 66. I think we have him projected at 61.3. And I think he'll be the default chalk spot, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be very popular. In the absence of Porzingis, you can roll out Maxi Kleber and you can roll out Dwight Powell. Centers have killed Portland all year. So both those guys are definitely in play. They're both very fair price, $5,500 for Powell, $4,700 for Kleber. And that's kind of where it's at. Tim Hardaway, he's a shooter. Play him while he's hot. The problem with that saying, play him while he's hot, is that he's going to go cold at some point. Right? He's going to go cold at some point. But you kind of don't have a choice when a guy is 4,900 and he's getting you 6x right now on that price tag because he's hot. You kind of need, if you're playing multiple lineups, you've got to roll him out at some point. Understanding you're going to get stuck when he does, though, too, because he's a shooter. But he's rolling right now. That's the slate. 7 games. Doncic looks to be chalky. Here's my rankings as I have it right now. Point guard. I have Doncic, Lillard, Brogdon, Napier, Murray, and Sexton. Those are the point guards I'm looking at right now. The shooting guard position. I really like the price tag of Dennis Schroeder. I really like the price tag of Bradley Beal. I really like the price tag and the upside in Dylan Brooks. Those are kind of three value spots. And Josh Richardson's price is really, really fair, in my opinion, as well. I think that he's right between 5 and 6x with his price tag. But I rank him out as DeRozan, Richardson, Red Velvet. If you don't know who Red Velvet is, it's Kyle Herter. Schroeder, Levine, Beal, Brooks. That's kind of where I'm at right now. The small forward position. Siakam is one. I think Siakam is an outstanding play on this slate. I don't mind Tim Hardaway. He's hot. Tobias Harris. Troy Brown. And Jarrett Culver is the guy that I want to get some exposure to today because I don't know how this rotation is going to shake out. They don't, Allen Crabbe's not going to make his debut today. So they are going to be down a guard. And, does Wiggins kind of split that with Napier? Do they trade minutes in the rotation? Are they on the floor together? Then one comes out. One, how's that going to roll? I think it opens a spot for Jarrett Culver. So I want to get some exposure to him in tournaments. Power forward. Power forward is a really ugly spot today. I would say Collins in the best spot. Don't like his price. Al Horford. Can he reach value in this game? Does it blow out? Ibaka's price tag down to $6,500 on FanDuel. Aldridge is super cheap in this spot. Like him a ton. And don't mind a little exposure to Bam and Kevin Love. I think Sabonis is in an okay spot as well. The center position. Valanciunas is 1. Dwight Powell is 2. Beyond that, for me, is a whole host of crap. Talking about guys like Tristan Thompson, Steven Adams, if he plays, Marc Gasol getting limited minutes, Jan Mahamini in a bad rotation. I would probably say that number 3 is Gorgui Dieng. Valanciunas, Powell, Dieng, and then beyond that, it's really kind of a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get. That's the rankings. That's tonight's slate. I will look for you in Discord. I will be back on Monday for another edition of the NBA Deep Dive, and tomorrow I will post a deep dive edition for the NFC and AFC Championship games. Until then, be cool, keep it cashing. Peace out. Chocolate fall in the nighttime, gotta get mine. Ain't taking the shot to the loss inside of the phone. Call up my nigga, send at home, polish in the back 10 chrome. Got a lick we can hit, so bring your shit, cause once again it's to the dawn with a flip of burn. My wig to the curb, so I swerve and roll out to pick up the 666 thug and pop out the